want to start out with our first enshrinee tonight, and this is going back to the earliest days of aviation in southern Nevada. In May of 1920, a young man who was a World War I pilot who had been a newspaper editor before that in Los Angeles and had decided to get out of Los Angeles. He followed the advice of his editor in Los Angeles. His editor had told him to find a small town and take over that small town newspaper if he wanted to go anywhere in journalism. So he went to Blythe, California. And in Blythe, California, he talked a local real estate agent into buying an airplane, a surplus Jenny from World War I. He said, I'll tell you what, if you buy the plane, which came in a box, it wasn't put together, it was a jigsaw puzzle, he said, I'll put it together for you, and I'll train you how to fly on it if I can use it when you're not using it. Because what he wanted to do was to be the first man to fly into little desert towns. He loved the desert. He loved being out on the desert. So he ended up talking the real estate agent into buying the plane, and he started flying it. He put it together, got it right, got it up in the air, and he flew into Las Vegas in May of 1920. He flew in from Blythe, carrying a passenger. This is a good thing when you think about it. The first air flight to Las Vegas was a commercial flight, you know. And he came in here on May 7, 1920. His name was Randall Henderson. He later went on to be in the Army Air Corps in World War II. He was the creator of Desert magazine and went on to have quite an illustrious career, but his early career was as a barnstormer. He came in here, stayed here 3 days, took up a number of local residents, including women, including the first Paiute elder to ever fly. A little story about him, the Paiute elder. I don't know his Paiute name. His white name was Old Baboon. That was his name. I didn't make it up. But he went up and he got so scared while he was flying that he passed out. Now, if anybody knows what a Jenny is like, it is flown by a stick that is between your legs. He was in the front cockpit, or the front cockpit, and when he passed out, there was a stick in front of him. He fell on the stick, and the plane went into a nosedive. And it was just by luck that Randall Henderson was able to pull that stick back without breaking it off, because that could happen as well, and get that plane down safely. So he was the earliest pilot to fly in here. He is our first enshrinee for tonight. And for each of our enshrinees, we have a video that goes along. I'm sorry to say you will see me on that as well on this one. I apologize. But I will... Have we got it? Welcome to Barnstorming, Nevada. I'm Mark Hall-Patton, administrator of the Howard W. Cannon Aviation Museum. Here on the extreme outskirts of Las Vegas, the desert looks similar to what it might have looked like when Randall Henderson became the first pilot to fly into Las Vegas in 1920. Las Vegas had never seen an airplane darken its skies. A small watering stop on the Union Pacific Rail line, Las Vegas had not yet entered the aerial age. May 7, 1920 would change that forever. Randall Henderson was the editor of the Blythe, California Herald. During World War I, he had enlisted in the Army and joined the Air Service. He trained as a pilot in the Curtiss JN-4 Jenny, but the war ended before he was sent to the front in France. After leaving the service and returning to Blythe, he talked local real estate agent Ralph Seeley into buying a surplus Jenny. These were available as military surplus, still in their packing crates, and Henderson offered to assemble the plane and teach Seeley to fly in exchange for the use of the plane at other times. One thing Henderson liked to do was to be the first pilot into desert towns. To this end, he talked with local Blythe businessman Jake Beckley about flying to Las Vegas. Beckley's brother, Will Beckley, ran the Beckley Men's Store and was a well-respected local merchant. The day of the flight, Henderson and Beckley took off from Blythe quite early. Many hours and 2 refueling stops later, Henderson flew over Beckley's brother's home at 120 South 4th Street. Jake had told his niece that he would drop her a doll, and he kept his word, making this flight also the first bombing run on Las Vegas. With Jake Beckley riding in the front seat of the Jenny and Randall Henderson in the pilot seat, the two men finally landed outside of town. The flight had been a long one, but Henderson was now the first pilot to land in the town. Henderson stayed for 3 days and gave rides to the local residents for $10 each. Among those who flew was a Paiute elder, perhaps the first Paiute to ever fly. Las Vegas had officially entered the air age and would never look back. Henderson soon ended his barnstorming career, but not his interest in aviation. He continued to promote aviation, doing publicity for his brother Cliff, the manager of the national air races during the late 1920s and early 1930s. Henderson later joined the Army Air Corps during World War II. Though best known for his promotion of the Desert Southwest through his Desert magazine, Randall Henderson was also a true aviation pioneer. So we have the plaque here. We'll just set it up here, but this is for Randall Henderson. By the way, I should point out, just as an aside, that there's nothing new under the sun. That plane that Seeley bought, that he put together, Seeley didn't own the plane. The Army eventually came in and took it back. It wasn't actually surplus. So in case you think there's anything new in terms of scams under the sun, it's all technology. So he is our first inductee for the 2012 class for the Nevada Aerospace Hall of Fame. So we add him up there.